A big change just happened with Charlotte Flair that fans are trying to make sense of. We'll also check out what's happening with the Wyatts, Jade Cargill, and more. Starting things off with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, because this took a turn fans weren't expecting, but everyone thinks they know where this is still headed. Charlotte and Alexa lost the tag team titles on Raw, but were saved by any further attacks thanks to the help from Ripley and Sky. Charlotte, Alexa, Ripley, and Sky all stood tall to close out Raw, and were looking like a solid War Games team. But then, just a few days later, Smackdown rolls around and there's a big new issue. And that's the fact that Charlotte Flair couldn't see herself coexisting with Rhea Ripley, who she had serious problems with well over 2 years ago. So Charlotte quit the team and dropped out of the War Games match due to all that high tension and bad history that was there between Rhea Ripley and herself. Charlotte told Alexa that she can do this on her own if she wants, but to count her out of the War Games match, Charlotte left the ring to a series of boos from the fans. What we can appreciate about this moment here is the acknowledgement of prior programs. That's absolutely fantastic. There was a point a few years back where prior feuds in history were fully ignored, and two former arch rivals would just suddenly start getting along with no reason given at all. So it is a nice touch in detail that Charlotte and Rhea just aren't getting along out of nowhere, because they're both babyfaces in current day. They're bringing back up that WrestleMania 39 program and highlighting very valid points about how both of those characters still feel about each other, because they never resolved those prior issues. So you can't knock that one bit. It is nice to see that added detail in the current day programs. But the main complaint from fans is that if Charlotte stays out of the match and leaves the babyfaces to fend for themselves because she can't squash her issues with someone, that basically erases all the character development that Charlotte has gone through over the last few months with Alexa Bliss. The company worked so hard to get the crowd to cheer for Charlotte Flair and turn her babyface through this tag team with Alexa Bliss. Even Charlotte herself said she doubted it would work at the start, but it did. They pulled it off and was able to somehow turn Charlotte Flair babyface and get the fans to be behind her again after so many people said it would be impossible. Somehow, some way they made it happen and turned Charlotte Flair babyface. But this action from Charlotte's character on November 14th is such a massive step back in her character development and just erases everything. What Charlotte did on Smackdown of quitting on the team because of her own personal issues, that just comes off as being selfish and self-centered, pretty much what her character was before teaming with Alexa Bliss. So that's why fans are a little confused by this segment, because they worked hard for months to manipulate the crowd and get them to cheer Charlotte Flair. They get it done, but then pretty much reverse all that progress within 2 minutes during this segment here. So that's what has fans completely baffled. Charlotte Flair went on this near 7-month journey of learning to become a better person, and she abandoned those values instantly. So that's the part that doesn't really add up at the current moment. But fans think Charlotte's decision to quit on the team will be reversed, because this type of narrative is starting to become a yearly tradition for the War Games match. And that's the narrative of someone not really fitting in with their War Games team, tension being high, they can't trust each other, but then something big happens to get everyone on the same page again. And if you look back at the last few War Games matches, you'll see a lot of examples of this narrative. This was the case with Sami Zayn and the Bloodlines War Games match. Roman didn't know if he can fully trust Sami and was very suspicious of him heading into War Games. But Sami took out his best friend Kevin Owens to truly be united with the Bloodline. We saw it again just last year with Roman Reigns and CM Punk. So much tension there they couldn't trust each other, but they ended up saving each other from big spots in that match, won the whole match, and shook hands at the end of it. Also a similar idea for Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch, a few years back at War Games. Charlotte and Becky couldn't stand each other, so much bad history there. But it was all paid off when they shared a big hug and reunited right in the middle of the War Games match. So this is a narrative that basically comes with the War Games match at this point. So fans think that's what's going on here. Charlotte Flair can't stay gone and abandon the team, because that would just be abysmal writing and really destroy all her progress over the last few months. In order to show that Charlotte has changed, Charlotte will probably come out on one of these final shows before Survivor Series to save the babyfaces and put the history with Ripley behind them. And we should continue to see more of that tension and distrust between Ripley and Charlotte in the War Games match itself. Even something that mirrors what we saw last year between Punk and Roman. Rhea and Charlotte start the match being suspicious of each other, but maybe they also save each other from big spots and finally have a big uniting moment with each other either during or after the War Games match itself. So that's what fans think is going on here. No way you leave Charlotte completely gone from this match, because sure, that isn't a full heel turn, but fans will start to boo Charlotte again after that move. But if Charlotte comes to the rescue and saves Rhea Ripley, that pushes Charlotte even deeper in the babyface turn, and really puts an exclamation mark on it. So that's what fans really think they're going for here. So expect Charlotte Flair to make a big save here at War Games, to really solidify her character development and further her babyface turn. A massive moment took place this week that surprisingly enough didn't seem to get treated as a big deal, and that was the return of Uncle Howdy. It has been several months since Uncle Howdy last made a physical appearance on Smackdown. The group has been without Howdy for such a long time, and everyone was wondering in which explosive way would they bring Howdy back. And we just quietly saw this return take place. After Solo Sikoa wraps up a conversation with Nick Aldis, a Wyatt 6 glitch effect took over the screen, and Uncle Howdy was seen standing in the background. It's a bit of a flat return for Howdy, who has been missing for months, and probably could have had a bigger return role. But either way, can't be upset at all. The important part is that Uncle Howdy is back from his hiatus, and that means this feud with Solo Sikoa and MFT is finally going to kick off in a major way. It looks like the thing the Wyatts were waiting on after all was Uncle Howdy's return. So now that he's back, they're going to stop hiding in the backstage area and finally confront MFT. Solo and MFT will be taking on Sammy, Phoenix, Nakamura, and the Motor City Machine Guns on SmackDown in a few weeks, in a traditional Survivor Series elimination match. It looks like that match will be a prime spot for Uncle Howdy and the Wyatt 6 to come out and confront Solo face to face. So look for the Wyatts and MFT program to really kick off now that Uncle Howdy is confirmed to be back. Jade Cargill competed in her first match this week since winning the women's title, and it was a dominant 2-minute win over B-Fab. No one really gave B-Fab much of a chance to really knock Jade Cargill off in this match, and it went pretty much exactly how fans envisioned it going. After the match concluded, Jade Cargill got into a little verbal back and forth with Mia Yim. As Jade Cargill was walking up the ramp, she said that she wants to face real competition to keep feeding her, and how she wants to see who's next. As everyone can see, there's no one for Jade to even face right now on SmackDown. No one at all. Tiffany Stratton is on a little hiatus from her storyline injury. Bianca Belair will be out of action for a while longer. And we're still waiting to see how everything goes with Charlotte and Alexa. So Jade really only has B-Fab and Mia Yim to feud with right now, and keep her busy until one of these bigger names pops up. A lot of fans have been discussing Julia to be one of Jade's first big challengers, and that could work. But of course they'll have to build Julia back up a little, following that embarrassing United States title loss she just went through. But Julia in something close to her NXT status and character, that version of Julia would be a credible contender to Jade Cargill. So hopefully they can get Julia back up to that level and get her ready. But for now, it looks like B-Fab and Mia Yim are Jade's top contenders. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.